Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Gfinity CS Spring Masters. My name is Chewy, joined this time not by Kana, by Metas, and we are going to be casting the elimination match from Group B, I believe, and it's Infused versus Orbit.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting game because both these teams find themselves in identical position, lost the first game, have to win this to remain in the tournament, so the pressure is well and truly on. Yeah,
most certainly indeed. Let's have a look at the results for this team. I actually was lucky enough to cast the Infused versus Virtus Pro game last night on the Challenger stage here. Late last night, I think it went live at about 11 o'clock, and it was a 2-0 sweep to Virtus Pro, as some people would expect, but the maps were actually a bit closer than I think a lot of people at home may have been thinking. 16-10 was the score on both of those maps. I believe they were cash. And Inferno, you were lucky enough to cast the Orbit versus Cloud9 game earlier on. What did you make of that one?
Well, Orbit really did surprise a lot of people. You know, Cash was an absolute dream to cast. Yeah. Fantastic game. 19-17 it finished, and Orbit ended up taking that one home as well. No one really gave them a chance. So Orbit are a team that can cause upsets. Cloud9 did end up winning 2-1. They fairly comfortably took home Inferno and Cobblestone afterwards. But their performance on Cash, which incidentally enough is the first map of this best of three, was incredibly strong.
And I think it ended with Pipe with the 1 versus 3 clutch, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, those are the kind of dream games to cast. I'm a tiny bit jealous of you for casting that one. I won't lie. But talking about maps, let's have a look at the veto system. So it was Orbit, the Swedish side, obviously, who did win the coin toss, and their first ban was Nuke. It then went to Infused to ban Mirage before the first map was picked by Orbit, and that was Cash, as we've said. Then it went to, I believe it was Inferno, the Infused pick. The last two bans were Cobble and Overpass from Orbit and Infused, respectively, and that meant that the decider map, if we get that far, will be Dust 2. So it will be Cash, Inferno, and Dust 2 as our 3 maps here. What do you think about those maps?
Now, I said this to you before we went live. I feel this really favors Orbit a lot because it was both Cash and Inferno that were the 2 maps played, the first 2 of the previous best of 3 with Cloud9. Yes, they got a bit battered and bruised on Inferno, but Cloud9 played phenomenally well. At one point, just to put in context there, they were winning 7-0 on T side, that's Cloud9. So the CT side of Orbit was a bit sketchy, to say the least, and I'm curious if Infused are going to exploit those same weaknesses.
Well, again, talking about Cash, talking about the T side of Cash, Infused, the British squad, of course, in this match, they played really well against Virtus Pro on their T side. 8-7 was the halftime score there, and they really impressed a lot of people on their T side of Cash. Unfortunately, they weren't able to capitalize on that. They only won 2 rounds on the CT side of Cash, so it'll be interesting to see how much preparation they've done since losing that game, whether they've had time to discuss it as a team and adapt and change their play styles, and obviously now coming in against a completely different roster, how they're going to adapt things and change things up, and what they're going to do on Cash. And it's great that we see it as the first map, because we'll find out instantly.
We're both huge fans of Cash as well. So
yes.
It's always good news to us. And something else I should mention is Orbit went 8-7 against Cloud9 on T side of Cash.
Well, there we go.
So if you're saying Infused are kind of sketchy on CT side, Orbit are good on T side, and that could make for a fairly one-sided map, but who knows?
Who knows, in fact, indeed. And I mean, we talk about the knife round, of course, which is on certain maps a really crucial thing. Maybe on Nuke, it's a really crucial thing to try and win that knife round to then go to the CT side and start there. On some of the other maps, I mean, like with some that we've got here, Cash and Dust 2, especially really for me, I don't think it's the end of the world if you don't win the knife round. I think in some respects, although Cash is still traditionally a CT-favoured map, it can just depend on the team's style, how they like to play, what maps they prefer to play on here. So you never quite know. You would expect the team to win the knife round, to go to the CT side of Cash, but who knows? I was watching NIP the other day versus Envy online, and they decided to go T side of Mirage after winning the knife round. So, important, round, though, to play.
In theory, it's like a 10-5 kind of scoreline for CTs, but as you say, it's completely dependent on the tactics at play. In the previous best of 3 with Orbit, just to mention that again, obviously Orbit went 8-7 on T side, but so did Cloud9, because it went into overtime. So there you go. Now, I do wonder how much scouting either team has been able to do on one another, because Infused, as a UK caster myself, and obviously you are as well in the scene, I don't know a great deal about these guys. There is an unknown quality to them.
This is the thing, and this is what was a big shock to Virtus Pro yesterday. Virtus Pro are a top tier 1 team, so Infused have got almost unlimited videos to analyze the Virtus Pro playing style and spend their time analyzing that team. Because Team Infused don't get many opportunities to play against the top tier 1 squads like Virtus Pro, it was difficult for Virtus Pro to actually, do any homework on them. And Taz, after the match, in fact, said that it was a huge surprise of how good Team Infused were. And talking about Team Infused, They have taken the knife round, and they should switch to the CT side. There we go.
Yep, as pretty much expected. Now, Team Orbit, the way that they attacked on T side was pretty much the same thing. They play very slow and steady. They try to take over mid. They try to get a few bodies in main on A, get a pick, and convert that into a bomb plant. They're very good at locking off those sites. Players to watch out for on Team Orbit. Pyth, you mentioned before, had a sick clutch, but he was consistently one of their best players, and Jumpy is very, very good. In fairness, though, to them, on Cash, everyone pulled their weight.
Brilliant stuff. Well, for me, the standout players on Cash, I believe, was HUDG. I've casted a couple of games online now with Team Infused in the past few weeks, and HUDG's really been one of the players, you know, if he plays on form, Infused stand a good chance. And also yesterday, Sack was really great at times, especially on Inferno, which, as we've already mentioned, is actually the second map in this best-of-3 series. But we are live with a pistol round, the elimination match of Group B here at the Gfinity CS Spring Masters.
Such a good phrase to use there as well, Chewy. This is an elimination match. This is do or die, sink or swim moment right now for both of these teams. Infuse the locals. Sweden represented by Team Orbit. And yeah, as you can see, it looks as though it's going to be a push very aggressively on towards the A site. They've got two opening picks, and it's those men, Pyth and Maxi, who is the AWPer for Team Orbit, that have gone in and got those entry frags. Here we go. Team Infused going to try and retake this site.
It was so difficult there for the Team Infused squad because we saw that Orbit got those entry frags, and we are left now in a 2 versus 3 situation. But Team Infused, the 3 players who were on B, got some great information because they actually pushed through B aggressively and started to go around on the flank. But Team Orbit sent 4 players out mid, and that was pretty much it. HUDG, though, is left in a 1 versus 1. The bomb is ticking, and I don't think he has enough time to defuse. Kitten will get the kill there, confirming the first round for Orbit. And that was a shame because Team Infused, maybe if they could have picked off 1 player or 2 players as they tried to enter that A bomb site with the rest of their squad flanking from B, they stood a really good chance to hold that. Wasn't the case, though.
That's the thing. It's these small nitty-gritty details that can make the big differences here. And Team Orbit, with that win, they're going to go for full AKs with a Tech 9. This is very straightforward, down-your-throat approach. You can see on the side of Infused, they're going for a more conventional eco with a couple of P2000s, I believe that is. No, P250.
USPs, and I think that's a P2000 as well. Yeah,
I think Declan was also on the P2000 before he got dropped. And this is what I was talking about. Orbit, if you give them an inch, they will take a mile in mid, and from there you can really control the pace, especially against an eco round.
Yeah, and I mean, mid-controlling Cash, I don't think we can really undermine what it can do. Interesting that Red Snake's not using a silence there on that USP, just something little to point out, but it looks like it could just be a clean sweep coming in here, although we do see Jumpy getting knocked down pretty, high, only left on 16 points of health, but still Infused. Not able to do too much damage, and it will be Sack now getting hunted down. He will be found near towards CT spawn, and that will be the second round on the board for the Swedes. They also get the bomb down, but, I mean, obviously, as you would expect, not enough money here for the CTs to buy up in round number 3.
That is the issue, but they do have a bunch of P250s, a few grenades thrown in the mix as well, so they can do some damage. And this is one of the reasons why you don't see every team go for this very ballsy approach on the AKs.
Yeah, I had a feeling they were going to do this. They, getting players down mid and getting those grenades down range quickly. Yeah,
trying to catch off the Swedes. And here we go. It's going to be Sweden that actually gets first blood here. Pyth was definitely a man on a mission. The man mountain last time around. There's Maxi in mid, drops down from the boost. He gets silenced there from Declan. And there we go, actually. Infused pulling this one back somewhat. They've managed to do quite a bit of economic damage. If they can get another couple of kills, they'll be very happy with this round. I have to say, I was impressed with their ecos yesterday. They ecoed Virtus Pro about 4 or 5 times, which is no, little feat. It's pretty darn impressive to do that against Virtus Pro. And they were looking at sometimes, I have to admit, better with pistols than they were with rifles. And talking about that, it's now a 2 versus 2 situation here. 54 seconds left to play with. And of course, those Team Infused squad members will know exactly where the bomb is. Seaton will be able to take down HUDG though. And it's all left up to Red Snake. Yeah, Red Snake with it all to do. But all things considered, they'll be happy with that eco. 3 kills. All they did is upgrade a few pistols, a couple of grenades. That's not a huge deal. And you can see now from their economy, they've got more than enough to get themselves an AWP, plenty of assault rifles, and they did quite a bit of damage to that bank as well on Orbit. So good round from them. So I know we've got to admit that Team Orbit and Virtus Pro, they aren't exactly on the same level of Counter-Strike, some would argue, and Virtus Pro being one of the best teams in the world, top tier 1, as I've already said, they perform phenomenally on most maps, but still, Team Infused only got 2 CT rounds yesterday on Cash here, so they need to make sure that they come in and have a better performance here. So already, considering the economy, considering the fact that they have invested heavily here with that AWP in hand, they've got to make sure that they get the ball rolling now and start to bring the rounds back. That's the thing. Now, Orbit did so well on Cash. They punished Cloud9 for not getting momentum on CT side. As I said, got 8 rounds on T's. And if Team Infused give them a chance, they will definitely jump on top of that one. Again, this is a very similar tactic to what we saw before in the previous best of 3. 3 players rushing through main, 2 through Squeaky. Red Snake is occupying the corner here. If he plays his cards right, he could get a hatful of frags. It's going to be difficult. He's been fully flashed. Here comes the onslaught from the T's, but he gets a quick double. He's hungry for more, gets 3 kills. Beautiful stuff from him, and surely the damage has been done.
Yeah, well, we will see as Maxi is now left alive in a 1 versus 3. Would be a pretty darn awesome clutch, but great work from Red Snake, that man, as you pointed out, especially just in that lovely little spot, NBK as some people call it. It's such a great spot on that A-bomb site. Maxi will take down Declan, though. They know exactly where he is. 23 seconds left on the clock here, and he will be able to pick up that bomb, and he should be able to get the plant. I'm not too sure if he's actually aware of where these last 2 players are, so he is going to fake it. And there is a sack on short there.
Bomb has been planted.
A bit dangerous right now. He does get the bomb down. I'm a bit surprised that Infused were so passive there, but they do get the kill, and they are going to get themselves on the board. 3-1. Again, though, Orbit did get the plant. They should have enough money, I'd assume, to go ahead and buy back up with AKs. Should be good to go.
Yep, we'll find out as we go into round number 5. 3-1 with a scoreline, an important round already for Team Infused to win. So let's have a look at the money. I mean, it's a bit split. We can see Kitten on 8.4k there, so he will be able to drop AK-47s. He's actually going to invest in an AWP, and that will go straight in the hands of Maxi, I do believe. And Crucial was able to save that AWP in the last round there. So 2 AWPs on the field here into round number 5.
Another player to watch out for as well is Houghton. He's very good at flanking. He's like a lurker. Yeah. So he's a player, especially on Cash, which is a very diverse map. There's lots of different ways, nooks and crannies to watch out for. He's a guy that if you give him a chance, he will get a couple kills from behind. So again, it's actually Maxi that's the first to drop. Orpa has been well and truly silenced here.
Well, they have been able to pick it up on another player, but Crucial won the initial AWP battle anyway as we start off this round, and just the T's taking things slowly, seeing what information they can find. A missed shot over towards mid on the boost area there, and we can see that the CTs are more than happy to just, you know, stay passive here, get their smoke grenades down, and just wait for Team Orbit to make a push and maybe make some mistakes. But they've got just under a minute left on the clock, so Team Orbit, they shouldn't be getting too worried here. It looks like they are now starting to dedicate over towards A.
Yeah, this is a play that they will do time and time and time again. So Declan is going to be consistently tested here at Catwalk, you have to feel. Oh, and he isn't going to pass it on this time of asking. Pyth gets the upper hand, and now it's Red Snake in NBK once again, raining out. Fair enough, it was a very heavily tagged up Pyth, but look at him, he's actually backed away. He's going to get a second kill as well. He's coming back in for thirds. He must have heard that Jumpy was lurking around the area, and this has 3-2 written all over it, and as Jumpy goes astronomically huge, he has spotted that player in mid, but it's just a case of being outmanned and outgunned.
3-2 will be the scoreline. Team Infused holding strong, and they do save 3 rifles there, so it is only going to be 2 more players that they do need to buy up for here. And having a look at the economy for Team Orbit, it's not exactly sitting too pretty. They do need to even out that economy, obviously a really important thing. So I believe they may go for an eco unless they really want to force it up this early. We will see if they do. But apparently they're wanting to pause for a second because somebody's absolutely desperate to go to the toilet. But okay, well, if they decide to do that, that's hopefully fine, and then we can make sure that we get back into the game as soon as possible. So there will be a pause, unfortunately, guys. Again, it won't take too long, but let's talk about pauses, actually, and how they can affect things, really, because Team Infused took 2 rounds in a row there. Now we are going to have this pause, which comes in, and it is going to somewhat stop their momentum. So, I mean, what do you think about pauses in the game and how it can slow things down?
Well, the thing is that pauses affect people in very different ways. It can halt the momentum of a team, but to be fair, it's 2-3. It's gone backwards and forwards. Yeah. It's too early to tell in that sense. What I will say is that yesterday's performance from Infused, I'm not taking anything away from those guys. 16-10, 16-10 is very respectable against VP. But you have to take into consideration there were huge delays in that game as well. Yeah. If Infused reacted well to the delays, this could very well be something that kind of boosts them going forward. They've just got 2 rounds in a row. They can now kind of chill themselves out and say, okay, maybe mid is something that we need to put more emphasis on. We know these guys like to attack A. Let's chill out. Let's get our heads together, and we can ride this wave home and, you know, maybe get something like 10 rounds on CT side. It'll be pretty solid.
Yeah, well, they're already looking in all honesty, again, I know Virtus Pro are a bit of a different squad to Orbit, but they are already looking like they're controlling things a tiny bit better, especially over towards that A-bomb site with Red Snake, holding that MBK spot that we've seen him do some good damage on so far. So they're looking already a bit better and a bit more confident on their CT side of Cash. Obviously, we'll see if they are able to convert off that. And you said yourself that Orbit have been playing great on the T side, as did Infused yesterday on Cash. So this has really got the potential to go either way. I can't really call it, in all honesty. I kind of hope it goes to a third map just because I haven't casted a third map yet. It's all been straight to OT on the Challenger stage. But again, it's an elimination match. All is on the line. You said it yourself. Do or die here.
Yeah, do or die, sink or swim. And both teams obviously going to be using every moment they possibly can to get themselves mentally prepared for this. You know, the bathroom breaker, I'm not denying that that's a legitimate reason, but this gives them a chance to just like cool down, think about what's happened. We've only played 5 rounds. It's still a long way to go. It's a marathon, not a sprint at the end of the day in a best of 3.
Very true. And this is what me and Karnak were talking about earlier on. As much as it is a physical game, CS is a mental game as well. Most definitely. I don't think anybody could really deny that, to be fully honest with you. Anyway, I did see a player run off, so hopefully it won't be too long before he gets back here and is able to continue with the game. Hopefully it won't be too long at all for you guys. But if you are just joining us, the hashtag for this weekend is hashtag CS Spring Masters, I do believe. And I mean, how are you enjoying your weekend so far? Are you having a good time?
Oh, it's been fantastic. It's
been
my
awesome.
first time casting for Gfinity, first time in this venue. I believe this is Gfinity's first time here as well.
Yeah.
It's a great atmosphere. It's very cinematic because we are literally in cinema
Is
right
it in
now.
a cinema? Yeah.
So the chairs are great. You know, as a spectator, I can imagine this is pretty much...
I have to admit, I did fall asleep on one earlier on very quickly, and I was just like kind of dozing because they are that comfortable. Anyway, guys, I think we are actually going to go for a quick break. Sorry to cut you off, but we are going to go for a quick break just while we wait for that player to get back, and we will be back hopefully with the rest of map 1 very, very soon.
Ladies and gents, apologies for that delay. We had a few technical issues with PCs exploding or something along those lines, but we are back again for this, the elimination match as we coined it, between Infused and Orbit. And already the action is underway, couple frags being exchanged, and look at this from Orbit already on the A side, looking to plant.
Yep, and it looks like they are going to be able to successfully do so. And we can see that they're just scouting around the area, seeing if any more Team Infused players are going to try and push through. But at the minute, they themselves are just waiting for that bomb to go down. And there it is. It's a bomb planted on A. In comes the retake situation coming in from Orbit, from Infused, sorry. But they've been able to pick up that orb, but they've done some good damage so far.
Yeah, doing a nice job here. They just have to keep the CTs at bay. Declan taking point. He's going in here. We're trying to get this entry frag, and he's got one. He could very well get the second as well. Hoyton completely took out of position, and the bomb's being defused in this meanwhile. Now very, very close, but they just about hang on and get the 4-2.
I was talking to Infused in the bit of a break that we had there, and they were saying, okay, it's 3-2. We know that we've probably got these guys down to an eco now, so we should be able to get this one. We're feeling confident. You know, they were even discussing about, oh, well, when we win this one, we'll face up against Cloud9, and we're hoping to make it out of group. So they are confident, which is what I like to see, but allowing Team Orbit to eco you like that, not exactly what they had on the plan.
Ooh, Maxi missing that shot. That is a shot that he would have landed in the previous best of 3 up against Cloud9. Is a plethora of action across the board there. All in Orbit's favour. They're picking themselves up 2 quick fire frags. Huchten is going through checkers. He's trying to push onto the site. There's actually a player there from the CTs. That's going to be crucial. He does bag himself a frag. He's going to upgrade his pistol to the Tech 9 that was on the floor. But meanwhile, the rest of Orbit again, and this is something it did to devastatingly strong effect against Orbit, against Cloud9, I should say. They were so quick to rotate once they knew there was weakness on the site. That's so fast.
Well, Team Orbit will confirm their 5th round, then already a really good start to their T half. And in all honesty, if they can go into the second half with 5 rounds on the board alone, they'll be in a pretty decent situation, you have to say, of course. Traditionally, this is a CT-favoured map, but from what we saw on both of these squads yesterday, they were playing better on their T sides than they were their CT side. So Team Infused, they are going to go for another buy here. It is 4 M4s and a FAMAS as Maxi does miss a shot just before that smoke grenade comes down.
Very nearly connects the dots there. Instead, it's going to be Infused taking the onus here, trying to play aggressive, looking for that boost. Try and catch the T's off guard, and indeed that's what HUDG is going to be able to do. Gets the 1 frag, nearly connects it on the second one as well. That's a pretty important pick from the CTs. They can now just sit in deep and try and wait for the inevitable charge. The Orbit are going to fire in. Very nicely done by Crucial. Probably had no right to pick up that frag and takes it to 4-on-3.
Yep, Red Snake will confirm another kill there as he is going to be able to try and pick up his second kill, and that's Jumpy down to 6 points of health. Maxi will get the kill though. And now we are left onto a 3-on-2 situation. Bomb just over towards the vents area at the second. We can see good control of mid coming in from Team Orbit, so they can decide where they want to go. We can see now Maxi just making his way up short. We've got one player in Jumpy, as we already mentioned, who's very low on HP. Now making his way back, going over towards A main. And Declan's going to be the key player here to try and hold off this push from the Swedes.
Yeah, if Declan can get this frag, you definitely favour Infused to comfortably get their third round. The problem is that, of course, Orbit are going to be bunching up and pushing together, and it's all on Declan. He's going to pop flash out there from back boxes. Does catch a heavy flash onto Maxi. 18 seconds to go. So it's basically a 4-on-2 in that case. Time itself is ticking against them. Declan gets the first one. He really should be the favourite to get the second as well. There we go. Very nearly got dropped, though, in fairness to Jumpy. Indeed will be the 3-5, and they managed to keep themselves plenty of weapons as well.
Yeah, now have a look at the economy for Team Orbit here. It's just a bit of a mix, in all honesty. It looks like they are going to go for the force here, and we can see an AWP in the hands of Jumpy straight away. Pyth picking up that AK-47, and we've got a Galil on Maxi, but an interesting decision. You know, their money was kind of all over the place, but they've decided to just try and even things out. Obviously, Jumpy and Pyth with the most amount of money, so they've got those all-important rifles in hand, but we've actually got one AWP in the hands of Crucial, as you would kind of expect on the CT side of Team Infused.
Yeah, the double Tech 9's not necessarily the best weapon to have in this situation, but it certainly can put a lot of pain down in the right hands. And Roke and Hooten are going to be picking them up for themselves. Again, Orbit very slow onto A. This is really a standard approach from them. Expect to see this a bunch more times on the T side from them.
Just taking things slow, seeing what information they can find. They are going to Molotov those areas such as MPK, knowing that Red Snake was playing so well in that area earlier on, but Declan will completely defuse that Molotov as he does make his way around towards the MPK area. He also has got the support of that player that we spotted out just a second ago in Red Snake, right on top of the site, but Declan will go down, as does Red Snake as well, and that's the A-bomb site open here. Zach will respond, but it's now a 4 versus 3 situation. Hudge G will respond himself, and it's back and forth frags, 3 versus 2, and the bomb's been planted.
It really is a reoccurring theme on A right now from Orbit, constantly getting through there. It's very difficult to hold off, because if you start to stack 3 players on A, you can almost bet they're going to just go ahead and force down B instead, go through main. As I'm speaking, though, Orbit have managed to get themselves in a 2-on-1, and Jumpy picks it up. And this is something we saw a lot as well in the past, that Jumpy and also Maxi will go for double AWP setup and then just lock down sites. It was normally on CT side, in fairness to them, but they've got the funds to do it here as well.
Yeah, I mean, a double AWP setup on the T side of Cash is not always the preferred play, but if they're happy to go for it, then why not? Who can blame them? And 6 rounds already on the T side of Cash is pretty darn good. And not only that, they have forced the Team Infused squad down onto an eco. They will not be happy about that whatsoever. They have been looking good on eco rounds at times, Team Infused, especially in the series that I did cast over them yesterday. But as G will go down, will the second kill be found? Yes, it will indeed. So already that B-bomb site being split open here as we see Crucial trying to get some shots down range and see what damage he can do. He will push through the smoke, but will he be able to do too much? I'm not too sure. Maxi has even seen it. Now he has. There we go. Tech9 comes into play. Clean sweep for Team Orbit, 7-3.
And this is one of the main strengths, I would say, of Team Orbit's attack on Cash, is they're very difficult to predict. Just when you think they're going to go A time and time and time again, they throw in a quick B, they throw in a quick push through mid. And we did say this before, you can't really understate the importance of mid in Cash. From there, you get so many more opportunities. In a sense, it's kind of like Dust 2 in that way. If you get mid control, you can go through short, you can go through vents in this case, and then just absolutely reap the benefit. So it's something that Infused are going to have to deal with going forward here.
Talking about Infused, Red Snake's going to flash himself out, playing over towards the B-bomb site this time, and he will pick up the initial frag. I'm not too sure if they're aware of this player, and he will be able to pick up one kill. Will Rogue find the second? Yes, he will indeed. So that's Declan down as well, and now the man advantage doubly in favour of Team Orbit. 4 versus 2. The bomb's actually quite delayed here, so if the CTs do rotate quickly and get in a good position, they've got a chance of trying to stop this, but we can see those all-important smoke grenades going down there on Heaven and onto lower CT area there from the T side, just to shut out any pushes from the Team Infused squad.
And they still have plenty of grenades to play with. They've still got a molly, they've still got themselves a smoke, still got themselves flashbangs, and the bomb's been planted, so I really can't see any feasible situation where Hudge G and Crucial managed to pick this one up, and there we go, Pyth does help himself to another frag. And this has 8-3 written all over it, and this is already getting into dangerous territory for an Infused.
It really is, and they didn't look strong on their CT side yesterday. Bar the fact it was against Virtus Pro, who are just a phenomenal team, they didn't look very strong whatsoever. They really struggled on their CT side of Cash, and unfortunately, it looks like that's going to be the case here. You know, as I said, I was talking to them in the break, and they seemed confident. They seemed, like they could take this one, and they were really looking forward to seeing what they could do. Unfortunately, it's not exactly quite worked out in their favor as of yet. That being said, though, anything can happen. They will be down to pistols once again here, though, in round number 12.
I guess they'll just have to talk themselves up and say, look, guys, it's early days. This is a best of 3. Got to play for the long haul here. Yes, it's not going well for us now, but if their T side is that strong, then they can certainly fall back on it. It's just a case now of damage limitation, getting as many rounds on the board as CTs as you can to try and give yourself a buffer going forward into the second half. But the problem is that Pyth is just on form once again. This is an eco round from Infused, so you would expect to see the 9-3, but desperately need to take some weapons away from the Swedes.
Pyth backing away there and getting that Molotov down as well, just to prevent any aggression coming in from the CTs to try and get that trade frag and be able to pick up that AK-47. So once again, it looks like it will be a push over towards the B-bomb site. The bomb will be late though, and can Tak do some damage? Yes, he will. He was great with that 5-7 yesterday on the eco rounds. Unfortunately, only able to pick up 1 kill here, and it's just going to be the standard setup. But have a look at Crucial and Declan. Look at this flank coming in. Will Pyth be aware of it? I think he may be now, but he's left on only 19 points of health.
Well, if the CTs can get themselves 1 or 2 more kills, they'll be relatively happy with this eco. But Orbit, at the end of the day, will still find themselves 9 rounds on T side, which is a phenomenally good score. And they're still going to be coming in thick and fast on this half, as it's all on Crucial. We'll be looking for some exit frags, but he's found himself a couple Swedes, and he gets dropped. 9-3, the scoreline. This is a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, they're starting to run away with this. And you talked about how well Pyth is playing. He's 14 kills, only 5 deaths so far. Really playing very, very well indeed. On the other hand, unfortunately, Tak not having the best of games. But, we don't like to call out players for not having good games. We want him to pick up his game and show us what damage he can do, because he was so great yesterday versus Virtus Pro. Maxi is going to find the shot on Tak, though. And as soon as I call out that player, Castor's Curse, he will be the first casualty of round number 13.
Yeah, it's going to be Silence once more. And they'll be chomping at the bit to get back into the action. Husg with a well-timed push there does get rewarded with a frag, but then Jumpy puts him down. And once again, it's even Stevens on manpower between the two sides. Plenty time to play with, and Rogue has just broke the deadlock here. There's Declan as well. It stays even, and again, it's going to be an A push.
Declan's got to be careful here. He's got to reload that M4, and he will get mollied, but he knows exactly where one player is, and he's found the bomb there. You see, last player now will be Python. He pushes out and picks up the kill, so it is AWP versus AK-47 here. 56 seconds left on the clock, so Pyth still has plenty of time left to do this, and we know what kind of a player he is. The issue is have a look at Crucial's positioning. I'm sure that Pyth has absolutely no idea that he is here whatsoever. He has got the bomb, and if he decides to switch over towards the B-bomb site here, that could really play in his favor.
He does need to keep a wary eye on the timer as well, though. Can't afford to play too slow. 30 seconds to go here. He's going to be going through vents. I'm pretty sure Crucial should cotton on at some point that clearly A is not the bomb site of choice, and that is going to be confirmed to him very shortly when that bomb is planted in the next few moments. There we go, and now he suddenly realizes, and with that AWP versus AK close range, I wouldn't be too surprised, there we go, that he picks up the AK himself. AWP is definitely not the best of weapons to go ahead and try and retake a bomb site.
No, now Pyth has got to try and find where he is. I think he heard that flash grenade coming through though, so he's going to know exactly where Crucial will be coming from, and Crucial isn't able to pick up the kill. Team Orbit getting into double figures, 10 rounds on the T side of Cash. They are looking so good, and just have a look at the money for Team Infused. It is awful.
And have a look at the money on Team Orbit. They are rolling in it right now.
I wish I had that money in my bank account.
Me too. 10,000 on a couple players. Even if they lose the next couple of rounds, they can easily afford to rebuy. So until
I mean, there's only 2 rounds left in this half, so they're not going to have any trouble for the rest of this T half here to buy up fully.
And already 10 rounds as well on top of that. So this is really scary situations, precarious at best for Team Infused. They've gone for a 4 spy, got a 5-7-3 for masses, the 1 M4, and not that many grenades to play with. 2 players have no grenades at all, and it's going to be Rogue who gets the first frag here, eviscerating Husg. And Team Orbit just back to basics for them. They're not doing anything hugely complicated. They're just doing the simple things that are working.
And they're getting good mid control here. We can actually see now, I believe that's actually Declan who's going to be making his way through the CT spawn area to try and get some more presence over towards mid. There we go, that player on your screen now, but he's just going to get smoked out here. And this is what Team Orbit, in my opinion, have done so well. They just keep getting control of mid, and they've got free reign almost. They're starting to stack their players over towards the V-bomb site now. Red Snake is just holding that angle on quad there, we can see, but still things have slowed down a tiny bit here. And with 43 seconds left on the clock, Maxi will find Declan there to secure the 2-man advantage.
And I'd have to say, you know, watching this one back, I think Infused would probably highlight mid as a main weakness. One of the contributing factors as to why they currently find themselves so far behind, because you just hit the nail on the head. They're giving it up pretty much every single round without any retaliation whatsoever. And they're not even mixing things up either, Chewy. It's not like some rounds they're stacking mid and then sometimes they're not. They're just always giving it up.
This is the thing. We saw Hud's G go for the boost earlier on, and he picked up that one fan mask skill and got some good information because he saw another player just at the entrance to A main. And were they able to capitalize off that eventually? I don't think they were. I don't believe they won that round. And that's the thing. If you change the pace up on your CT side, you go for those aggressive boosts and things like that, and you do change things, you've got to be able to capitalize on that, and they've not here. So Team Orbit already on 11 rounds. They've gone for a double AWP setup, and it's 3 FAMASs for the Team Infused squad here in the last round of the first half.
And this is the other danger as well. As good as Infused T-side might be, if they go 12-3 behind, it's pretty much win the pistol round or lose the first map. It's really that simple. And even if you do win the pistol round, you still have Everest to climb. So Red Snake is going to try and make this a 4-11 at half-time. He's managed to get himself up a kill. 2 players have fallen from the Swedes, make that 3. Very nicely done by Red Snake. He's actually picked up all 3 kills, and he has just been... I thought it was him that got put down. It's actually Declan that did, so back to a 3-on-2.
58 seconds left on the clock here, and I hope Red Snake spotted where that bomb is. I do believe he has, and we can actually see now Hudge G is going to be rotating right through team main, flanking around the back of this last player, which will be Kitten. Definitely a player who can do some good damage, and talking about damage, he will take down Red Snake here, knocked down to only 28 points of health though. He's got 2 FAMASs to fight up against here, so this is potentially looking good if a Team Infused, but will it be enough? Hudge on the flank will take off his head, and an 11-4 score at half-time. And again, we know that both of these teams, as we've discussed many a time, are good on the T side of Cash, but Team Orbit having 11 rounds on Cash on the T side, and now again, as you said, you know, like winning that pistol, and if they're able to convert on that, doing well, it's going to be difficult. And this is also another thing that I want to point out. Again, it was against Virtus Pro, but Team Infused yesterday, out of 4 pistol rounds, they won 1, and then they got ecoed straight away after winning that 1. So pistol rounds for them is something, in converting off those is definitely something they need to work on as a squad, I feel.
And indeed, midway through rounds as well. I mean, you called it before, you know, they get the opening pick or 2, but they can't manage to get over that finish line. And that really is something that separates the men from the boys in Counter-Strike, you know, the top-tier teams from the second and third-tier teams. So Infused are desperately trying to cling on to this round here, trying to bring this one back in their favor. If they could win this, you'd expect them to maybe take it sort of 6 or 7 to 11. So that's how important this round actually is. But it's going to be Maxi with that first frag, and he gets the second as well. Both 1 clicks, and the third, and the 4th. Are you kidding me, Maxi? Absolutely explodes. And even though Sak is in connector, the bomb is being defused right now. There's nothing he can do from that position.
Maxi with an absolutely phenomenal play. I'm sure somebody will make a highlight of that one. We'll probably see it on HLTV later on as he picks up the final kill as well. Maxi going huge there. And is that Goodnight Team Infused on Cash? We will find out. It is going to be the Tech 9 armor buy. They are forcing things up here, Metas, and they've got to change the situation, and they've got to do it now.
That's key. They are running out of lifelines. Yes, it's the first map and a potential 3, so they've still got plenty of time.
Of course.
You got to say, this has been looking fairly one-sided for Team Orbit. This is going to give them all the confidence in the world. This is Orbit's choice of map. It's important to mention that. Second map will be Inferno, which was Infused choice. So maybe going back onto home turf there is going to do them good.
But they were happy with the map choice. I talked to Crucial, I think it was, during the little break, and I was like, you happy with the map picks? Oh yeah, man, I really am. That was his response. So yeah, but here we go. And over shotgun, or the XM shotgun even. It's out Crucial.
Looking for that second. Bomb was planted, so that's a pretty good job from Infused, but they did commit to this round. There's Declan as well, getting himself a headshot. And the fake defuse comes in from Maxi, trying to draw out some predators that are laid in wait, and he does get that wish, but Zach gets the upper hand, and that's going to be the bomb getting defused once again. Here comes the spray down from Hütten. Jumpy does get himself taken out. It's a 1-on-1. The bomb is ticking. And that's going to be Team Orbit actually backing off, realizing the defuse was not on the cards. This is a huge round that Infused desperately needed, and they picked it up.
He didn't have a kit there, so taking a good decision just to save his armor and his M4A1 rifle in hand there. So Team Infused holding on. You never quite know what can happen in CS. This is why we love it as an esport, because anything can happen, anything can change, and we can see now Team Infused rewarding themselves with those AK-47s after winning the Tech 9 armor buy, and Team Orbit getting punished for losing that round, and they are just down to some measly pistols. It's going to be a couple of 5.7s and a P250 as well, I do believe. So here we go into round number 18.
I've said this so many times. CS is such a momentum-based game.
Yeah, of course.
Not just because of the psychology behind it, but economy as well plays a huge role. So if Team Infused can break the bank a couple more times, they still have a chance at this. I'm almost talking half like this map's already over. It's not. It's going to be very difficult for them to pull back, but it is doable. We've seen crazier things happen.
We have seen crazier things happen, most definitely indeed. Pyth will be able to take down Crucial there, and will pick up that Tech 9 for himself. Obviously, one of the most preferred pistols in the game at the time. I won't discuss it too much because I could be here all evening giving my opinions on that pistol. But just under a minute left on the clock here. Maxi still does have that M4 in hand, and I'm liking this little boost here coming in from Rook on the A-bomb site. And we can just see how slow that Team Infused are taking this. Despite having the weapon advantage, they are not taking things too aggressively and getting in the faces of Team Orbit, because we know those pistols can do great damage, but Jumpy in a lovely spot.
Oh, he really is. Oh, he made a meal out of that, but didn't really lose that much HP for his troubles, so got away with it. And Team Infused still marching on, and it's a lot of respect they're giving, not rushing in, all guns blazing, realizing that Team Orbit are at the caliber that you will get punished if you go too aggressively. Maxi gets the headshot onto Declan from behind, looking for the second, very nearly line up for him. It's another 1 versus 1. And these are the make or break rounds, and the bomb is going to get planted.
They need this one here, Team Infused, especially considering the fact that this was a real eco. A couple of 5.7s, as we said, but there was only one rifle at the start of things for Team Orbit. And Zach will just about close it out, but so much economical damage done there to Team Infused. They are okay. They will be able to buy it here, so it's not going to be too much of an issue. But still, you kill players, take the armor away, take the rifle away, take some grenades away. They've got to rebuy all of those things here. So 6-12 is the score. We are going to see another full eco coming in by the looks of things here for Team Orbit. So according to the script, this should be 7-12. And we're already starting to see Team Orbit looking better on their T side than we saw on the CT side.
Yeah, looking very good indeed right now. You can see, I was about to say they've got a Deagle in play with Houghton, but he just gets completely pummeled by Crucial. And you can understand that to an extent. You've got a Deagle, you want to go for the sexy Counter-Strike with the 1D. Yeah. Try and pick up an AWP. This was a good trade to have. Unfortunately, it didn't work for him this time. And Infused look like they are going to get that foot over towards 7-12. Although, Pyth is going to stand tall on the side. He does get a frag, and I saw him in the previous best of 3 pull out these kind of plays.
Let's see what more damage he can do as Jumpy and Rogue get 2. It's going to be the last player left alive in SAC, and it will not happen. So a full eco is actually the round win. And this is the thing, you talked about how, on their CT side, Hudge G was getting those entry frags, and in the middle of the round, they just weren't able to convert off that. We saw once again Team Infused getting the entry frags in that round, and they just weren't able to capitalize off it. So they're going to get punished for letting Team Orbit win on an eco, and now they're down to pistols themselves. So a back and forth second half here, but as we head into round number 20, Team Orbit only 3 rounds away from taking the first map.
And what's even more depressing about the point you just made is it was against an eco as well. They couldn't take command of a player advantage on eco, and now they're probably going to get punished for that one, as Rogue seems spoilt for choice, flicking between 3 players, trying to get all of them. A bit greedy from him. Maxi gets a double, a triple actually. 5-7 reigning supreme. It's all crucial. He does get the bomb down, so that's a slight saving grace. But again, it's that same situation. They're 14-6 behind. A bomb plant just doesn't really do much to mitigate that 8-round difference.
I think it already started to steamroll almost out of control. I do have to admit, when it was that 3-2 situation, we came back from our break, and Team Infused were looking confident. They went, well, it's going to be even 3-3 here because we know they're going to eco. And they got eco. They lost that. And then Team Orbit just used that momentum and kept rolling off it and kept going forward. And it was a really difficult end to that first half of Team Infused. But they've got to take it 1 round at a time here. They've got 5 AK-47s. They're stacking their players, getting a lot of presence over towards B initially. And have a look at the aggressive setup coming in here for Team Orbit. They've got a lot of players in mid. I think they may have 2 players over towards boost. Yeah, Jumpy's going to find one, but he will miss the kill. And now we're all even in a 4 versus 4.
Backs against the wall. If ever there was a time for Infused to perform at LAN, it's right here, right now. They do have Inferno to maybe claw back, but they want to take this as far as possible. You can see already that the T's are just pouring on top of B site. This bomb will be getting planted. There is smoke down, stopping any CTs from stopping that plant from being put down. And strangely enough, Orbit aren't really making a movement in here. The grenades are just keeping them at bay.
Yeah, that's the thing, is those smoke grenades just holding them off. Eventually, they will try and get control. It's another one-for-one trade, though, as Red Snake does go down, followed by Hutton. And we can see that with this AWP in hand, it's going to be difficult at close range to try and do some damage. It's another one-for-one trade, and now it is all in the hands of Crucial and Declan to do some damage. Piper's going to spray around the corner, misses his shots and gets punished for it. And now Rope making the best decision here, in my opinion, backing away, saving that AWP, and Team Infused able to hold on to the B-bomb site here. So 7-14 it will be. Team Infused hanging on by a thread.
Definitely the correct decision. 1v2, bomb was very close to exploding, and you've managed to save an AWP worth quite a big chunk of change. Maxi, we've already seen, can get those opening picks so easily, and again, they've gone for the double AWP setup, which I was kind of expecting. Jumpy and Maxi did this last time against Cloud9 to very strong effect. And I would see it being quite difficult for Infused to break this, considering they have no AWPs of themselves.
You never know, though. Anything can happen as a grenade rains over the top and actually does some considerable damage to the T's here over towards the boost area. And I think that actually may be Rogue who's pushed into a main. Yeah, it is indeed. Let's have a look at his position. Just peeking over the top of that smoke. I like it when CTs change things up, get a bit aggressive, try and take the initiative and be a bit more dynamic. We saw Team Property do it so well earlier on, but no players on the T side in main at the second. A smoke grenade comes out just to slow them down even more. And with 1 minute left on the clock, no casualties as of yet.
Yeah, nobody has fallen, which is actually the exception to the rule, because normally we have a player falling within 20 seconds, but again, the curse comes in and Sack will drop Rogue, who is lurking around in the shadows, trying to pounce on somebody. Orbit, oh my goodness, that shot through the wall there. Was that, did Hutton just shoot someone through the wall in the head? Or am I blind?
No, I don't think, I'm not too sure where he's playing at the second. I'm not too sure if he did. I was looking somewhere else actually at the same time, trying to work out what was going on over towards B, because as we can see now, the bomb is rotating in that direction and will be Jumpy with an AWP, the initial person to try and stop this push. As they peek round the corner, he gets one. Will he get two? Let's try and find out. Smoke grenade goes down. That's two confirmed. Will he get three? Oh my gosh, here we go. This is like the Chris J play. I think it was ESEA. Hutton will disturb his party, but who cares? He picks off the kill. Three absolutely very important shots there coming in from Jumpy to confirm map point for Team Orbit, 15-7.
But here's a confusing thing for me. They all walked around single file without any smoke.
There was no flash either, I don't think.
Like nothing. They just like walked out in a conga line, lined up for him, and Jumpy obliged.
Yeah.
I was really surprised by that. Like, surely you just rush onto the site altogether.
Well, if you get those flash grenades out and you hold your angles and you get out there quite aggressively, yeah, it can work, especially against an AWP. But as you said, they peeked out one by one. He peeked them one by one and got the kills. So 15-7 it is. Talking about AWPs, Maxi's going to take down Red Snake here. And will that be the last time we see him in this game? It looks like it could be indeed. Maxi's going to get another one. This man has been phenomenal so far. I have to say credit to the player. 5 versus 2, and it's all up to Sack and Hudge G. Make it just Sack now. He will go down. Clean sweep for Team Orbit. And the first map goes 16-7 in favor of the Swedish side. And I mean, I thought we could potentially see a closer game there, but just from the fact that Team Orbit had that incredible T-half, really just shut Infused down, and there was no leeway for them to get back into it from there, really, for me.
That's the problem, that even if you have a really strong T side, if you don't give yourself the foundations to build upon, if you don't get enough rounds on the opposite side, like it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're still going to lose the game, and that's what I feel happened there. There was almost an insurmountable deficit to try and come back from, and unfortunately they just weren't up to scratch on that map. But then again, it's no huge disgrace because this is the same team that just beat Cloud9 on Cash.
Yeah, definitely. So indeed, and we saw Infused lose Cash yesterday, so it wasn't their pick, that was the pick of Team Orbit, and now we are going on to Inferno, which, as we've mentioned, was pick by Team Infused. So who knows, maybe they will perform better on that. I certainly hope so. It would be great to see this go to a map number 3. But in the meantime, we are just going to go to a very quick break just as the teams recuperate and get ready for map number 2. So don't go anywhere. We'll just go for a quick advert break and we'll be right back.